My name's Anthony Litz. I'm like a 400, 800, and a 300 hurdler at Roncalli. Going into my junior year, I haven't really gotten too much accomplishments yet. I'm hoping this is going to be a big year for me, I think. I've started really putting more into track, a lot more time, cutting out other stuff. So I'm really excited for this year. I think it's going to be a good year.
Good deal. I was thinking you were going into your senior year, but I'm glad you're only going into your junior year.
Yeah,
So
just
that
my junior
sounds
year.
like me when I was in high school. I cut out basketball about
That's what
that
I did. Yeah.
that transition from sophomore to junior year. It's
Yeah.
like enough is enough. I'm not planning on doing
Yeah.
much with this round ball, so let me go a
Right.
different direction. So when
Yeah.
you put more into track, what about it excites you about this upcoming season?
Well, this year also is really, I've started like really getting into lifting, like getting really stronger. I haven't really done that since before this year. So like I'm excited to see what that does. I think that will help me really. And then like having done basketball before, I wasn't able to really like get into track till like March, but now I've been working out with it since October. So I think starting earlier will make me like faster earlier and like end faster in the end.
Awesome. So, Anthony, who's been your biggest inspiration in the sport of track and field?
Probably my dad. He's a big track guy. He's really into it, and I mean he's my coach too, and he
Awesome.
did track in college and stuff.
We would be remiss if we didn't allow you to shout out your dad. So give us his name. Shout out your
Uh,
dad as coach.
Frank Litz, that's my dad, Ron Colley coach.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So while you do want to accomplish a lot this year, you're looking forward to a lot of things and your focus and honing in on specifically just doing track. What would you say has been one of the most memorable moments you've had thus far from competing?
I'd say probably regionals last year. I scored and I was happy about that. And then also there is this guy, his name is Dom, and he was a senior last year when I was a sophomore. And he also 300 was a 300 hurdler. And we had always like raced together through my whole like all year. We've been like with each other and I finally beat him and that felt nice. I was like passed the baton to me of hurdling and I like became like the best hurdler for our school for like varsity.
Nice.
Right.
What got you interested in hurdles to begin with?
Yes.
A lot of people are afraid of those barriers.
Yeah, well, my freshman year was really my like when I got to high school, I started actually like I always knew I was gonna do track, but I never really like I had too many other sports during middle school. And then when I got into high school, I kind of just like tried everything and hurdling is what like I think worked best for me. Like I tried high jumping and long jumping and like it just wasn't as good. And then when I started hurdling, I was already like a pretty good 400 and 800. So like I thought 300 hurdles, that's like same kind of distance. Like you need the same kind of strength. So I went into 300 hurdles.
So you mentioned earlier in your story like a memorable moment. You were at regionals and competitor that you went back and forth with, you had the opportunity to beat him. So how do you mentally prepare for your competition?
Big competitions is really where I always do my best because I always like for like so long before I even start racing, I'm just thinking about it and like that's all I do is think about it and like in practices when I'm doing my reps and stuff, I'm like imagining racing and all kinds of stuff. Even like now when I do my workouts now, I like picture being in the big races and running and fast.
Um,
Love to hear that.
yeah,
We
that's
both
cool.
love to hear about the visualization.
Right. And getting ready for the big competitions. And I'm assuming one of those big competitions for you would be the state meet, of course. So in terms of like your goals for the season, you say you're expecting a big year, you anticipate this being a big year. What are some of your short-term, long-term goals when it comes to track?
Well, for this year, I'm hoping my main goal is to for the 300 hurdles is just to hit the state standard. So during my well win sectional and in regionals, just hit the state standard, get myself a ticket to state. Because with the new regionals, our regional is pretty tough to get out of, especially in the 300 hurdles. We got a lot of fast guys who are returning in that. So like, I think my best chances are just hitting the standard. So I have a definite chance to get to state. And then hopefully our 4x4 will make it to state too this year and win sectional. And more longer term, I haven't really thought too much, but definitely for like by the time at the end of my high school career, I definitely want to have a couple like school records and 300 hurdles, maybe 400 or 800. Definitely our relays, 4x4 and 4x8.
So, Anthony, how do you handle setbacks? You know, in any sport, you have your wins and you have your losses. So, how do you kind of reset when you have those setbacks?
Last year, we had a Southport relays. We went to the Southport relays and I did the 4x8 there. And I didn't run too, I mean, I ran all right, but like I was probably like getting carried kind of in my relay. Like I wasn't like one of the best. Like they were kind of having to pull my weight a little bit. And I didn't run that good that meet. And like that really like made me mad. Like I like being like the one who's like carrying the team or like being the one who's like being the fastest. So I thought about that for a long time until I could run another relay because like I felt like I was kind of letting them down a little bit, and I wanted to be the one like leading it.
Now, with an experience like that, what so how has that helped kind of shape you now as going into this season in terms of how do you focus when it comes to, training and everything else in terms of like what character traits did that help build for you?
Yeah, I think just like being like so like it keeps me locked in and like determined to like get faster because that's what I like I'm not just running just to like run like I'm running like I have something that I'm like have a goal to like be a good runner and like be a leader on the team.
So, you talked about your dad being your coach as well. So, how would you say your parents have contributed or instilled in you, like being a positive person? What have they instilled in you to be who you are as an athlete?
Well, my dad's definitely big because he's like my coach. He really like he doesn't let me if I want to like not do the last set like I'm never gonna be able to do that. I'm always having to do one extra than everyone else. So that really like I'm always kind of like prepared to do extra because that's what he's always made me do. So he's definitely big. And then my mom too, and like all my parents, they really like push me to always do my best in everything that I do.
Okay. I mean, that hard work, I like that. Um,
Hmm.
but my question to you is when it comes to like natural talent versus hard work, what's your view on that? Because some
I
people are
think
super talented and they just, they sometimes they don't work hard.
you definitely, I think it needs, maybe not at high school, you can probably get by with just being a really hard worker, but definitely being a really good high scorer, like even beyond that, it definitely takes at least some talent. Like you need to have good talent or just like kind of like athletic abilities to begin with. But hard work and like always being like consistent is definitely huge. Like, because if you're lazy, you're not going to get far just being lazy.
Well, you won't get far anywhere, anywhere in life if
Um,
Yeah.
you're lazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
how do you celebrate? You said you claim in quotes that you haven't had as much success, but being able to uh, place at regionals, that's a huge accomplishment. So, how do you celebrate when you do really well?
I kind of just try to stay as humble. Like I don't really do too much celebrating because I know like when I start doing bigger stuff, I can start celebrating. But I know that this is kind of just like the beginning.
Okay. That's
So you
fair. You're
humble
only
and
a sophomore
hardworking.
last year.
Yeah.
We'll give you that one. However, you have big plans coming up, right?
Hopefully,
So
yeah.
so we have that part. When it comes to you just overall with you don't want to celebrate, but how do you define what's actually success for you? Like what's a good meet in terms of even if you didn't win, what would make it successful in terms of how your meet played out?
Definitely just like getting a PR. I think every meet I go into, I have a time goal that I'm trying to hit. Like most of the time, especially early meets, I think of just like almost as just like workouts, just me versus like the clock, just like getting better times and getting stronger and faster for later in the year where the meets matter most.
And speaking of how you are in practice and how you push yourself, how do you maintain being healthy throughout the year, um, preventing any injuries?
Definitely the biggest thing is getting to bed and getting good sleep. That's my main thing. And then also keeping a good diet and like I said before, just being consistent with everything. Like don't spend some days just like doing nothing all day. Like you need to always every day like at least do something good for your body. And then after workouts, eating good still even then and massage gunning. I do a lot of massage gunning and some like other stuff like that, recovery kind of stuff.
Now, if I can give you a quick tip, the
Mm-hmm.
massage gun thing is better to do before. Like that's it's like part of your warm up. The massage gun is good for that. Whereas in like foam rolling or something like that, it'd probably be done after. Just
All right.
small tip there.
Thank you.
I'm, it's here's
The
why.
chiropractor is the yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
just want to explain why. I know he's probably like, well, that's good, but I don't know why he told me that. But if you're asking your muscles to fire like you would be doing a sprint, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to do a long, slow roll over them and then turn around and ask them to fire.
Mm-hmm.
Follow what I'm
That
saying?
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So with the firing of a massage gun, it's doing
Yeah.
those quick motions that your muscles are going to mimic in terms of what they do
Mm-hmm.
next. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I was saying that. Now I wanted to
That's
say, and that wasn't even a criticism, that was just feedback. But if I was to give you some sort of criticism or negative feedback, and I know with your dad being the coach, that might be a little touchy subject sometimes. But how do you handle that? Like the feedback that he may give you on your race or your technique or whatever it may be.
I'm kind of just like a student. I just anything they say, I just learn and try to do my best to do whatever they say. I don't whatever he says, I kind of just do.
So, what would you say has been your biggest sacrifice for running track and field?
Probably the other sports that I'm cutting out, definitely, and a lot of time commitment and stuff like that too. But probably definitely the other sports that I'm cutting out.
Oh, so you really like basketball? It's
I
just
mean,
it's Indiana. It's okay. Basketball's a religion around here. You
yeah.
so we get it. We get it.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to participate in, so you're cutting out basketball, so you're making room for track. Let's say track takes you to the next level. You're going to college, right? Everybody who goes to college runs. The plan is to work hard. What do you think would make you stand out? What would make you different from everybody else that was being recruited?
Probably like maybe my coaching ability, like my ability to be coached.
Mhm.
Okay. Everybody's not coachable. This is true.
That is
It,
that
it,
is very true.
and people who've had too much success too early and that's like it turns their ears off. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah. What would you say makes you a great teammate? I heard you mentioning your team a lot, which is that speaks volumes. My ears perk up when I hear athletes. So, what makes you a good teammate?
I think it's just like the constant, just like encouraging them always, and like leading by example too. Like there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of complaining sometimes in track when there's like hard workout days. So I think just like making sure they remember like what the goal is and like why we're doing this stuff and that it's actually a good thing because like it's gonna make you stronger and faster.
But do you have like a team goal? Like, are you guys as a team? Like, what's the big goal, big mission here?
Well, every year a big goal for us is definitely win conference. Our conference is pretty competitive, but every year probably our biggest team goal is winning conference. And also our relays. We have some pretty strong relays we want to get to state in.
And so, with that and with your goals, how do you balance team goals with your personal goals?
Well, I think the way we do it is like with meets like conference, it's definitely that's like a team first meet. So I'll just do whatever event is like best to win the meet. But then once we get into like state series, the like sectionals and regionals, that's when it starts getting more like individual, whatever gives you the best chances to get as far as you can.
And you guys focus like, is that more of an individual thing, or is like let's get the most people, as many people as possible downstate. So we're gonna focus on relays, or because I know you run the 300 hurdles. Those are kind of close, and then you run the 4x8 at the beginning and the four by four at the end. So you have to. It's like
Yeah.
some
Well,
some sacrifices that have to be
yeah.
made, right?
Yeah, I can't do all that. I can't do the bad thing about having it's like 800, 300 hurdles, 400. So like I can
Right,
normally only do one of those three every meet.
right.
So I do the 400 or 4x8 and 4x4 probably almost every meet and then just one of those three.
So you alternate between those, and that's like
Hmm.
putting a lot on you. I
Mhm.
mean, in
Hmm.
terms of just mileage wise and a meet, that's a heavy meet. Eight,
Yeah.
either 2 8s and a 4, or an 8 and a 4 and a 300 hurdle. That's a lot.
Yeah.
How do you like? I know you said you eat pretty healthy. How does that nutrition play into, you getting prepared for meets and everything else? Do you do something special? Because, like I said, that's kind of a lot, and you have to bounce back from that from event to event. So, what does that look
Mhm.
like for you on a meet day?
Lots of drinking water and electrolytes. And then just like making sure there's just like all clean, healthy food that I'm eating.
Can I get one example? I just
He
Of
made
like,
thinking that saying Chick-fil-A.
I just
oh,
yeah,
like,
because people have different ideas about what's clean and healthy. So I'm just
yeah,
curious.
I like, I like to eat fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables. And then like, a go-to for me, I eat a lot of pretzels as snacks sometimes during the meets. And then just like for like actual meal, I'll just eat like, I don't know, some chicken or something.
All right. I don't have to get too bad with you.
Yes. So, Anthony, what would you tell younger athletes who are either running track or interested in running track? What advice would you give them?
It's all about like finding the right event for you, but then once you find your event, just like stick to it and work at that one thing like as much as you like find as many times and like as much as you can do to just work and get better. Like even if it's not on the track, you can still do stuff that will like make you better.
Well, Anthony, if people wanted to follow along with you, keep up with you, see how things are going this season, how would they do that? I mean, I know we found you on Instagram, I do believe. So, is
Mhm.
there an Instagram handle you want people to follow, check you out, or X handle, or anything like that?
Yeah, I have an X, but I don't really. I just repost a lot of the Ron Collie track stuff on that. And then my Instagram is kind of newer. I haven't put anything on there about track yet, but this year I'll have a lot on there. I don't know what they are right now, but could probably send them to you maybe.
Yeah, we'll put them in the comments.
All right,
It'll be posted in here somewhere.
all
Maybe
right,
we'll have it post down at the end of the video. We'll do
all
that.
right. Yeah.
All right. Well, Anthony, we
Okay.
appreciate you joining us.
Yes,
Mm,
absolutely. We're
thank,
looking forward to seeing you this season.
Yep.
thank you for having me.
All
Thank
Yes.
right.
you.
Have a
Much
good one.
You too.